Okay, hello everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining Dragon Trail International and GITF for today's webinar, where we will be introducing the 2022 Guangzhou International Travel Fair and discussing some of the biggest trends in Chinese cultural tourism right now. My name is Sienna Perlis-Cook and I'm Director of Marketing and Communications at Dragon Trail International. Joining us today from the Guangzhou International Travel Fair is Marcom Supervisor Helen He, and we will also be joined by Dragon Trail Sean Lee, who is here to introduce and answer any questions about the technical side of GITF's online platform for 2022. On the agenda today, I'm going to give a very quick update about the latest news and developments related to international travel to and from China. Then Helen will join us for a Q&A about the Guangzhou International Travel Fair, or GITF, which is being held for the 30th year this December. Sean is going to speak in more detail about the features of the online platform, which is powered by Dragon Trail's technology. We are also the event's outbound destination official partner. A major theme of GITF is cultural tourism, and with that in mind, we're going to look at 4 examples of China's thriving cultural tourism trend, along with some takeaways for overseas destinations and attractions. At the end of the webinar, time permitting, we will do a live Q&A session. You can send in questions at any point during the webinar using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel, and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible at the end of the webinar. I would also like to note that I will be sending out a PDF of today's presentation slides, along with a link to a recording of the webinar to everybody either later today or tomorrow. So you'll have all of those materials for future reference. Before we get started, I'd like to give a very quick introduction to Dragon Trail International for any of you who might not know us. We are a marketing solutions company with extensive expertise in the travel industry and in China, where we're headquartered. Our services include virtual and hybrid events, B2B and B2C digital marketing, market research and strategy consulting, and market representation services. We are proud to work with leading travel brands all around the world, including destinations, attractions, hotels, airlines, and others. You can find much more information about the services that we provide, case studies of our work, the clients we work with, and lots of free resources on the Chinese travel and digital landscape on our website, www.dragontrail.com. So at this point, international tourism to and from China still has not restarted. However, over the summer, we have seen a lot of developments that show progress for making international travel easier and promise for the future. So let's take a quick look at those. So in terms of inbound travel to China, up until June of this year, for the previous 2 years, it was only possible to enter China as a foreigner if you had a work visa and a residence permit. This started to change in June, with China accepting applications for business visas and visas for family reunion. And now, as of August, you can also apply for a student visa to enter China. Also, for more than 2 years, international arrivals to China were required to quarantine for a minimum of 14 days in a quarantine facility. This changed at the end of June, being cut down to 7 days in a quarantine hotel, followed by 3 days at home. At the start of August, China's circuit breaker aviation rules, which cancel flights as a consequence for importing COVID cases, were somewhat relaxed, which should lead to less disruption for those trying to fly to China from overseas. At the same time, we have also seen the addition of many new international flights to China over the summer, particularly to Beijing. Travelers to China still need to take numerous COVID tests, but there are efforts to streamline this entry process with a simplified health declaration form released at the end of August. Politically, there have also been some important developments that might indicate future easing of international travel restrictions. At the end of June, China's leader Xi Jinping left the Chinese mainland for the first time since January 2020 to go to Hong Kong and celebrate the 25th anniversary of the territory's return to China. Then last week, he made his first international trip since the pandemic started, going first to Kazakhstan and then to Uzbekistan. Everyone has been looking forward to China's 20th National Party Congress as the big event after which we could hope to see further easing of travel restrictions. This was always expected to be held in either October or November of this year. And at the end of August, they announced a date of the 16th of October for the start of the Congress. The Congress is expected to last around 1 week, and the travel industry will be looking to see what kinds of developments happen after that. Now, one thing that's definitely happening after the conclusion of the Party Congress is the Guangzhou International Travel Fair, which is being held for the 30th time with an offline event from the 12th to 14th of December and an online show from the 12th to the 31st of December. To tell us more, I'd like to welcome Marcom Supervisor Helen He to answer some questions introduce and answer some questions about the fair. So hello, Helen, welcome, and thank you very much for joining us.
And thank you, Sienna. And hello, everyone. My name is Helen, and I'm the Markham Supervisor of our HMFS, Hannover Milano Fairs Shanghai Limited, Guangzhou branch. So we are the organizer of Guangzhou International Travel Fair. And we usually call it GITF for short. So our fair was established in 1993. It is a large-scale international tourism fair with the earliest and the longest history in China. So after 29 years of development, GITF has become an influential and professional tourism fair in South China. So I want to say that GITF is a good place for the exhibitors to promote their tourism resources, their products, and it is also a good way for the visitors to know the latest trends of the tourism industry. So this year is 2022, and we had our 30th anniversary, and we will hold a physical fair this year. And it is on December 12th to 14th in the Canton Fair Complex in Guangzhou, the physical fair. So as the organizer, and we will continue to bring the latest tourism information and the professional activities to our visitors. And we will provide high quality exhibition services and various promotional opportunities to the exhibitors. So that's what I want to introduce GITF for you. The first part.
Thanks, Helen. I've got some questions for you. So first of all, GITF is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. Can you share with us some milestones or highlights from the fair's history so far?
Okay, so as I just said just now, and our fair was established in 1993, and at that time it was organized by the Guangzhou Tourism Administration. So in the very beginning, all the exhibitors are the local travel agencies that they sell the same tourism products with lower price to attract the customers to come. And that is a pure B2C platform at that time. And then since 2008, the government invites my company, Hannover Fairs, to have a cooperation and to hold the fair together. And then we all know that Hannover Fairs is a very professional exhibition company in the world. So we have a lot of resources, especially their international part. So since then, the GITF was introduced with more international resources, and we have more international exhibitors, and we will have international buyers. And then GITF began to have the commercial operation, and we will invite the buyers come to the fairground to communicate with our exhibitors, that they will do business and to interact with each other. And one thing that I want to emphasize is that during this year, we will have some hosted countries, and such as Italy, Brazil, USA, Sri Lanka, the reunion island of France and Panama, and so on. And actually, these countries, they are the hosted countries in GITF every year. And for this hosted country, we will have more opportunities to promote their products in the fair. So I think that for the overseas exhibitors, it is a good chance to be the hosted country in GITF. And then now here come to the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020. And as we all know, the COVID-19 came, right? So this pandemic had a very big effect to the world in all aspects and for all industries. So everything changed because of this pandemic. So GITF, we also need to make a change. So for a time that we cannot hold the physical fair, maybe for nearly 1 year in China, we cannot hold the physical fair. So we developed the online mode. We have the online fair, we have the online forum that will still keep in touch with the world, keep in touch with the Chinese outbound tourism markets. And also during these years, we have different cooperations with some organizations and institutions, and such as COTRI, Professor Wolfgang, maybe you will know Professor Wolfgang. And COTRI is the China Outbound Tourism Research Institute. And although the Chinese border is not open yet, we still keep in touch with the world, keep in touch with the Chinese outbound tourism market. And I think that a lot of people in the world that is looking forward to the reopen of the Chinese outbound market. And we have the same wish. And we also hope that we will see each other face to face in Guangzhou in our physical fair next year.
Thanks. So you mentioned that GITF has had some cooperation with COTRI these past years.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, no problem. That we have some deep cooperation with COTRI for 3 consecutive years. So now from the screen, we can see that in 2020, from October 12th to 16th, we have the 5-day Bus Export China Summit. It is a virtual trade export, and we have more than 50 keynote speakers here, both from China and overseas. And these experts and the professional that they talk about the new trend of the Chinese outbound tourism market after the pandemic and how it would change after the pandemic. And then in 2021, we also have an online forum. It's on August the 6th, and it is about the post-pandemic Chinese outbound tourism. New trends with a special focus on the Greater Bay Area. So from the topic, we can see that this time we focus on the tourism development of the Greater Bay Area, the Guangdong Province, Hong Kong, and Macau. And then we still are, during the online forum, we still have some panel discussions to talk about some new trends of the tourism markets in the world, maybe such as the health tourism and the self-drive tour and the camping, now very famous in the world, and then maybe the RV tour. and this is about 2021. And here comes to 2022 this year, that on May 19th, and we have an online conference. It's the China Outbound Tourism Conference. Actually, May 19th is a very special day in China because it is the 12th China Tourism Day. So on this special day, we hold this China Outbound Tourism Conference. And we have the professionals and experts that we have the keynote speeches, we have some interviews, and we have some panel discussions. During the fair, we have more than 2,100 audience from 51 countries and regions. And we also got more than 20,000 likes. And then after the conference, we still got a lot of congratulations and positive feedback from the audience. They may say that, oh, in this difficult time of the tourism industry, this conference is a really good chance for us to communicate with each other and to support each other. So this may be a good signal to telling us that the tourism industry is coming back, is recovering. So that's what I want to talk about our cooperation with Kotri this 3 years.
Thanks, Helen. So circling back to the GITF, the fair, I'd like to know a little bit more about the buyers from the fair. Are they mostly from Guangzhou and southern China? And is there anything you know particularly about the southern Chinese travel market?
Okay, so let's talk about the buyers of our GITF. So before the pandemic, we may have nearly 800 buyers every year come to the fair to interact with our exhibitors. So we have overseas buyers that they are out of China, and we will have hosted buyers that they are in China, but out of Guangdong province. They are in the other place of China, in the other province of China. And we will have South China buyers that they are inside the Guangdong province, maybe mostly from Guangzhou city and Shenzhen city. So for the overseas buyers and the hosted buyers, we will provide them with air tickets and hotels. And for the South China buyers, we will provide them with travel allowance. So for the obligations that the buyers that need to have certain numbers of matchmaking meetings with our exhibitors, because the buyer needs to come here to do business with our exhibitors, right? So after the pandemic, because the Chinese border is not open yet, the overseas buyers that cannot come to China. And because of the quarantine policy, some hosted buyer that they cannot come to Guangzhou to have the face-to-face meetings. So now we pay more attention to the South China buyer. And now for the physical fair, we will invite more South China buyers to come to the offline fair. And for the overseas buyers and the hosted buyers, they will mostly join us on the online fair. So no matter you are the overseas buyers or the South China buyers, we still keep in touch with them. So both online and offline. And also when we talk about the South China market, right? And as I said just now, we are based in Guangzhou and we are the Guangzhou branch. Guangzhou, you know that we have working very hard in the South China market in Guangzhou for more than 29 years, the GITF. And Guangzhou is a first-tier city in China with Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen. And also Guangzhou is a first-tier cities in the world. So Guangzhou is called the city of commerce, the city of culture. So we have a very long history. Guangzhou has a history of more than 2,200 years. And we have a lot of good food. We have a lot of attractions, scenic sports. So Guangzhou is a very good tourism destination for people, and maybe every public holiday, the summer holiday and the winter holiday. You can see a lot of travelers in Guangzhou. And also the people in Guangzhou that they love go traveling to other places, and they would like to enjoy their life, to spend money when they are go traveling to other place. So people like to go traveling in Guangzhou, and the people in Guangzhou like to go outside, to go traveling. That's what I want to say, that Guangzhou and the South China market is a very developed tourism market. And also, when we talk about Guangzhou, we will talk about GBA, the Greater Bay Area. And we are close to Hong Kong and Macau. So Guangzhou is the coal engine, the coal city of the Greater Bay Area. And we still have some data to show that in the end of 2021, Guangzhou has established friendly relations with 101 cities in 66 countries in 6 continents. I want to say that when the Chinese outbound market reopened again, the Chinese border reopened again, the people from Guangzhou, the people from South China market, that they will start traveling the first. So this market is a very developed market in China, and it is still one of the biggest tourism markets in China. So we suggest that people, if they want to develop their business in China, Guangzhou may be their first choice.
Thanks for that. Now, lastly, what are the top 3 reasons that travel brands should consider exhibiting at GITF this year?
Okay, so for the first reason that I want to say is that I just mentioned before that Guangzhou is really a good place for you to develop your business in China. It is called the South Gate of China. So it is really a good choice for you to exhibit. And then the second reason I want to mention is that after 29 years of development, GITF has accumulated a lot of resources and had a huge influence in the tourism industry in China. Every year we have nearly 500 companies participate in GITF as the exhibitors, and we have nearly 30,000 visitors, professional visitors, come to the fair to do business with our exhibitors. So that's really good. And also we will invite some buyers from the Guangzhou local travel agency that they will do the business with our international exhibitors. And that is very funny that because the buyers are from the Guangzhou local travel agency, if the international exhibitors that do the business with this kind of buyers, that maybe the next day you will see your products, your destination that are showing in our Guangzhou local travel agencies. And that the third point that I want to mention about the reason is that during our fair, we have dozens of forums, activities, shows and presentations that we provide a lot of opportunities for the exhibitors to promote their tourism resources and products. And also we have strong media partners, and we have more than 100 medias that they will come to the fair to have interviews with our exhibitors, to have interviews with our guests, and then they will do some reports and report the exhibitors, report our fair to the public. So if you are the exhibitors, so you not only have a lot of visitors in GITF, and you may have a high media exposure. So I want to say that no matter you are the exhibitor or you are the visitor, so you can get one-to-one and you can know what you want to know in GITF. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. Now, as many international travel brands, oh, sorry, I have your contact information here too. So.
Yes, here is the contact. If anybody is interested in exhibiting in GITF, you can contact our staff vendor. And here we have her telephone number and their email address. Yes.
Thank you. Now, as probably a lot of international brands might consider joining GITF's online version this year, we have Dragon Trail's Sean Lee here to explain more about the features and the advantages of that online platform. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you, Sienna. And thank you, Helen, for the specific introduction for GITF. And hello, everyone. I saw a lot of familiar names here. And maybe some of you we may meet tomorrow, as tomorrow we will have an event at our office. So this is Sean Lee from Dragon Trail. So regarding the GITF, I would like to say a few more words as well. Actually, I was involved for GITF since 2008. I was participating in GITF as media, as buyer, and also as exhibitor. I can say this is one of the best show in the South area of China for travel show. And I can see it's evolving every year, not only from the productive and the efficient way, but also I can see from the content side and from the, you can feel the pressure about the buyers, and also you can feel the enthusiastic visitors from the B2C section as well. I can see the figures that the buyer and also the visitors actually bought a lot of tourism products through the show. So regarding the online one, this is one of the important cooperation with GITF and Dragon Trail as well. This show can be improved as they're involving as well. So we called GITF Online Fair 2022, but actually this is an wholly new experience for both exhibitors and buyers, and also the visitors. Next, please. So the physical one, Helen and Sienna already introduced, is from December 12th to 14th. But for the online one, for B2B time, is from December 12th to 18th. And there is a B2C session from 12 to 31 to 32nd. And also, we call it a hybrid format. I will introduce that more details in next slide. Okay. You can see this is a local as the physical one. I knew some of the friends may not come to China this year because of the policy, the quarantine, or whatever. But if you join online, you will have an on-site booth as well, which we will put your logo, put the computer there, so you can engage with the offline parents as well. So we call it a hybrid model. And GITF will provide one step to help to collect the main parts and provide on-site assistance to present the buyers. So this all you can have for the GITF online version, which is virtual booths, video meetings, B2B matchmaking, live chat attendees, interactive expo newsfeed, and meeting rankings. Okay, next, please. For the B2C exhibitors, I think that most benefits are the same as the B2B exhibitors. Only the difference is the matchmaking and the online chatting, online video chatting. So this is the booth line. You will have your digital booth here, and also the visitors and buyers can view your booth through their mobile phone or PC. Next, please. Okay. Here is the package for the GITF online. You can see the pricing here is quite generous. Actually, GITF would like to support exhibitors or support the industry as more as they could. So we are happy to have more exhibitors employ online and also physically. Next, please. Besides the package, you can also sponsor the online fair as well. What you can get is the landing page, home page, and exhibitor list page advertisement opportunity, which is at a very reasonable price as well. Yeah, you can see from this is the landing page mockup, and that's the PC and the mobile version. And platform actually I could introduce, but actually it's a very mature platform. I have run so many travel shows in China, and we have helped a lot of destinations and organizations to run their online roadshow since 3 years. So this is a quite mature platform, and we already have a lot of players and managers register this platform and use this platform, and also for the exhibitors service the 1,000 exhibitors before. So this is a quite well-oiled engine, and you can feel a little bit different this year. Actually, if you want to go physical, the buyer can use the same mini program to. You can see there's a badge code there on their business card there. They can use this mini program to do the physical one as well. Okay, the last one is the exhibitor list page. There are some advertising opportunities as well. So, if you are interested in GITF online, please do not hesitate to contact GITF as well. And Travel is the partner of GITF. Very smooth experience as an exhibitor. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Sean. And now we'll also stick around at the end of the webinar to answer any questions that you might have about the technological side of the platform. But now we're going to turn our attention to cultural tourism, which is one of the core topics at GITF and has been a very key area of development in China in recent years. So we'll be spending the rest of the webinar looking at some examples of cultural tourism in China. This kind of travel is particularly popular with young people, and I think understanding what attracts them and what kind of social media platforms are impacting these trends will help overseas tourism brands to stay connected to what's going on in China's tourism market now and give you ideas for what will entice this market when international travel comes back. So I am going to introduce 4 hotspots for Chinese cultural tourism today, with 3 cities and 1 museum. As you can see, they're quite spread out throughout China. The cities of Xi'an and Changsha are considered new first-tier cities, and then Dalian in China's northeast coast is a second-tier city. So let's first look at Changsha, which has become a real hotspot in China for young Chinese travelers over the past couple of years. With more than 10 million residents, Changsha is the capital of Hunan province, and it has become known as a Wanghong, or an influencer city, where young Chinese will go to take cool photos or videos to put on social media. It was also named China's city by social media platform Xiaohongshu in a report that they put out this year that was based on search data from their platform as well as a survey of more than 2,000 young Chinese. Among other social media platforms, Xiaohongshu really stands out when it comes to seeing what's cool. And most of the images that I'll be using to illustrate these case studies today do come from Xiaohongshu posts. So looking at some arrivals data from Forward Keys, comparing the summer of 2021 with the summer of 2019, we can see that for solo travelers and for couples traveling, apart from cities on China's island province of Hainan, Changsha is the city that saw the most growth as a travel destination in China between those 2 years, with 24% more solo traveler arrivals in Changsha in the summer of 2021 compared to pre-pandemic, and an increase of 26% of couples traveling to Changsha in 2021 compared to pre-pandemic. Changsha is filled with incredibly photogenic places and things, and that is one of the keys to its success and why it's so big on social media. Nighttime tourism is something that is very popular with young Chinese right now, and Changsha has this in abundance, as you can see from all these brightly lit signs. Food tourism is also a big draw. Hunan cuisine in general is fantastic, and Changsha is known for spicy crawfish. Another thing that has made Changsha go viral on social media is the milk tea brand called Chayuan Yuese. This has been called a national sensation by The Economist, and customers will often queue up for up to an hour to get a cup of the milk tea and subsequently the photos that they can take with the beautifully designed cups to then put on social media. And you can see an example of that here. Red tourism, or tourism connected to China's communist history, is also something that's become more popular for young Chinese since the summer of 2021, when the Chinese Communist Party celebrated its 100th anniversary. And this is something that Changsha also has an advantage in. Mao Zedong came from nearby Changsha, and there is a 32-meter high bust of the chairman outside Changsha that visitors can go and take pictures in front of. The next case study to look at is the Sanqingdui Museum. This is located 60 kilometers outside of Chengdu in Sichuan province. The museum introduces the Shu Kingdom, which is seen as the origins of Chinese civilization, and visitors can see artifacts dating back up to 4,500 years. The Sanqingdui ruins were discovered in the 1920s, and they're considered to be one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in the world of the 20th century. The excavations and discoveries are still ongoing to this day, and actually the museum is currently undergoing a major expansion, with stunning contemporary architecture being built to house the growing collection. Now, one of the reasons for the popularity of this museum is that it has featured in TV and film, notably a Sichuan TV documentary called Rediscovering Sanqingdui, and then an animated film that came out this summer called Crazy Guibao's Sanqing Treasures, which is based on a 2009 comic book. In August of this year, the Global Times reported that there were at least 10 works currently in production about Sanqingdui, and these included documentaries and TV dramas. So although it's a bit out of the way, it's focused entirely on ancient history, Sanqingdui is incredibly trendy. If you search for it on Xiaohongshu, you'll find dozens of photos like the one on the right of women just dressed to the nines posing in this archaeological museum. So what's its secret? One of the reasons for Sanqingdui's popularity is its presence in the media and entertainment industry. Another is that young Chinese people are genuinely interested in and enthusiastic about their country's history. And with the excavations at Sanqingdui still ongoing, this means that there are plenty of exciting discoveries that are still coming out. Another thing is that while the museum displays of the archaeological artifacts look pretty normal as far as museum goes, Sanxingdui really understands the daka, or the check-in trend of Chinese tourism, which involves taking the social media. And so because of that, they've created things like the backdrops that you can see in the picture on the right, which is incredibly popular for users to take a picture with and then put on Xiaohongshu or other social media. Sanxingdui has also come out with a range of trendy products. And these not only make money from sales, but they also help to drive more attention on social media and then more visitors. One of these products is blind boxes, where you get a figurine that is based on something from the museum, but you don't know what it is until you open it. And there are lots of videos on social media in China of people opening their blind boxes from Sanxingdui to see what's inside. Another thing is branded ice creams, which have been a huge trend for Chinese tourism destinations all over the country in recent years. They look really good on social media and they help to advertise the destination. So overall, Sanxingdui offers an excellent case study for taking something truly ancient and making it contemporary and cool. Next, we're going to China's ancient capital of Xi'an. Now, you might know Xi'an for the terracotta warriors, but there's much more than that. Culture and tourism already accounted for 12% of Xi'an's GDP in 2020, with projections that this would continue to grow. Xi'an's draw is its history, and it has developed to capitalize on this. There are several big attractions in Xi'an that are connected to Tang Dynasty, which is known as a high point in Chinese culture. So the picture that you can see here on the bottom is the Great Tang Mall. And this is a long boulevard with Tang-style architecture, shopping, and performances. As you can see, it's lit up very brightly at night, so it goes along that trend of nighttime tourism, which I talked about in relation to Changsha. However, the city's history does go back much further than the Tang Dynasty. And in the summer of 2020, the chairman of OTA Ctrip, James Liang, he dressed up as Emperor Qin Shi Huang, which you can see a picture of here, to do a live streaming to promote tourism products in Xi'an. Now, Emperor Qin Shi Huang is China's first emperor, and it was for him that the terracotta army was built. A popular TV drama, which began in 2019, The Longest Day in Chang'an, is set during the Tang Dynasty. And in May of this year, A Longest Day in Chang'an Cultural Street opened in Xi'an, not far from the Great Tang Mall. This new attraction features Tang-style architecture, recreations of Tang-era life, shopping, performances, and lots of people dressed in historical costume. It's also a major hit on social media and a huge new draw for tourists. Now, lest you think that Chinese cultural attractions are only focused on ancient history, let's look at one very different example, which is Dalian's Bear Cave, and that opened in June of this year. This is a shopping, dining, and entertainment complex, which is housed inside an old factory building. And it's designed to appeal to young people with a cyberpunk style and a giant animatronic bear named Bebe, which was designed and created by a Dalian-based company. The name Bebe means north-north, and it is meant to be a symbol of northern China and Dalian's cultural IP. So the Bear Cave, or Bebe Street, was really conceived and promoted with social media coverage front and center. It was designed to be a Dakar destination and promoted on social media channels that are particularly popular with young people, such as Douyin. Bebe the Bear also has his own social media accounts with 100,000 followers on Xiaohongshu, 23,000 followers on Xigua, and 71,000 followers on Bilibili. On those accounts, you can see animated videos of the bear as well as videos that are really designed to go viral. So for instance, in this summer, when there was a COVID outbreak in Dalian, there was a video, which you can see in the middle here, of Bebe getting a PCR test, and this received hundreds of thousands of views. So these examples that I've shared might seem very uniquely Chinese. Obviously, overseas destinations are not going to have Tang Dynasty architecture, and something like a video of a bear, animatronic bear getting a PCR test might seem even more cultural. But what we can do is look at what these 4 destinations have in common and think about that. So one important thing that I haven't put on the slide here, but I think is really important to point out, is the very strong interest in and appreciation for history and culture that we see among young Chinese in these examples. And I think this is something really positive, which you can keep in mind for marketing content or travel product development. Apart from that, one thing that all of these examples have in common is that they offer excellent opportunities for photography and the kind of DACA or check-in style photos that look great on social media. And because of this, they're really popular on social media. Xiaohongshu in particular has emerged as a strong social media platform for influencing young Chinese on their choice of travel destination, as well as other popular platforms such as Douyin and Bilibili. Looking ahead to the return of the Chinese outbound market, or even thinking about how to attract Chinese, young Chinese who might be studying at universities near you now, I think it's important to consider your presence on these social media platforms if you haven't already. Now, this is something that Dragon Trail can help with, from establishing and opening accounts to working with influencers on campaigns, or working on campaigns to drive user-generated content. For Sanqingdui and Xi'an, we see how television and film can influence Chinese travel trends. This has always been a major influence for outbound tourism as well. We can also see the importance of food culture. Food is really central to the domestic Chinese travel experience, and it's always been very important. And in the few years leading up to the pandemic was becoming more and more important for outbound tourism as well, with Chinese travelers kind of more willing to try local cuisine and more excited about learning about local cuisine. Then we also have the trend of nighttime tourism, which has emerged very significantly in the last couple of years. And this is not necessarily nightlife, like going to bars and nightclubs. It's more attractions and destinations that stay open or lit up brightly at night so that tourists can extend their daytime travel experience into the nighttime and really make the most of their time. Now, finally, there is a commercialization or a commodification of culture that we see that has been very successful in driving attention to destinations on social media, in addition to making them profits for the sales of things like ice creams or toys. Now, this is something that museums and other cultural attractions should consider in particular, and it's something that has potential for e-commerce even before Chinese visitors return physically in full force. So that is it for my part of the presentation. You can find lots more information about Chinese tourism trends and social media marketing on the Dragon Trail website by following our social media accounts, or if you haven't already, signed up for our monthly newsletter. So we now have time for a little bit of Q&A. I will say in advance that if you have questions specifically for Helen or about GITF as an offline event, it would be best if you could send those in to Helen by email directly, or to her colleague about exhibiting, and you will have the contact information and the slides that I send out later today or tomorrow. But if you do have questions about the GITF online platform or other topics from today's webinar, you can send those in now. Thank you.
Hi, Sienna.
Hi.
So I would like to emphasize again about the GITF timing. It's happening in this year, December. Yeah, I would like to say that's a great timing again, just 1 month after the great Congress, some policy may change. That's the best timing, I think, for especially the destinations or other travel related company that would consider to do something for China outbound market.
Yeah, I would just say December also seems like a very good time thinking ahead to the possibility of Chinese New Year travel.
Yeah, I would like to introduce to everyone as well. We are discussing with GITF. We are about to work together for a sentiment report for the outbound. It's not confirmed yet, but we would like to hold that event during that period as well.
Yes, so as you know, Dragon Trail has been producing regular Chinese traveler sentiment reports since the beginning of the pandemic and kind of tracking how sentiment is changing. And we do hope to release our latest report during GITF. So we'll have updated Chinese traveler sentiment then and hope to see some changes there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we'll wrap up for today. You will have all of our contact information when we send out the presentation slides, and hope to see you at GITF and at a future Dragon Trail webinar. Thank you very much to Helen and Sean for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Thanks.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
See you
Bye.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.